What's up, everybody? You don't know, I am Hines. Today in hindsight, quick vibe, quick tune in. Since I'm back in the city, I was in Atlanta and I was also on an island for a few days, so I want to get back into the swing of things, and the best way for me to do that is to connect with y'all directly on live stream, because hey, that's the environment we like to create over here. Let me know where you at in the world right now. I'm back in Vancouver, BC, Canada, loving it. Let me know where you at. I know we got people from all over. See, we got Neely in the building. So we got Nanny in the building. Let me know if you can hear me. Mic check 1 2 1 2, making sure everything is okay. I'm getting so prepared and ready for the next 60 days. I don't want to say I'm going on a sprint, but I can say that pretty much mind, body, and spirit, all energy, focus, and attention is going back into the content, is going into the podcast, is going into the YouTube, is going into the live streams, is going back into the short form content. There is nothing else I really want to do right now in these seasons except for create and share and be here as much with y'all. I'm trying to live on live stream. I'm not even gonna lie. You know, I'm trying to be here and connect and really build these next 60, 90 days. I'm feeling so positive, feeling so good. And I can feel there's so much for us. And there's a lot of seeds to plant and a lot of seeds to sow. You understand? I know a lot of us have probably felt like we have been working for quite some time and nothing has been quite working out. But I do want to remind you of bamboo growth. You know, one of my favorite concepts about how bamboo takes about 5-6 years to grow. In the first 5 years, it's completely like underground. You don't see it. It's within the soil. But in the 6th year, it just sprouts and blossoms super high for everyone to see and enjoy. And a lot of us are going through bamboo seasons, and I could feel another bamboo season coming for myself as well. So really trying to just prepare and have that gratitude and be thankful. I'm very excited. We're going to be doing so many different type of live streams. I'm going to be doing a create with me live stream. And that one's going to be on Twitch, where I create content live. So anybody that's ever interested in my process or wants to see me record podcasts, I will be doing that once a week on Twitch. And then the rest of the streams will be here on YouTube as well. Lots of vibes. We're tuning in. I see we have DC in the building. I see we have Kentucky in the building. I see we have shout out to Georgia in the building. I was just in Georgia. I was just in Atlanta for the Invest Fest. Had a great time. Shout out to everybody who I saw out there. Man, one of my favorite things I think about being a YouTube creator is traveling to different cities and people being like, Hines, you know, people recognizing you and just having that like one-on-one engagement. It's really fun. You know, it's a beautiful affirmation, and it's just, you know, it's just beautiful to see how global the community is. Let's see who else we have in the building. We got Indiana, we got Ohio, we got North Carolina, we got Denmark. USA is really in the building today. We got Cali, we got Rachel in the building. Rachel always catches the live streams when she can. I appreciate Rachel very much. We got Guyana in the building as well, and we got Delaware in the building. I also just posted a YouTube video. If you want to go check that out, just some things that help me become, you know, successful, you know, and stay highly creative. Check that out after the stream for sure. And yeah, we're gonna vibe out for a quick 45 minutes. Let me know how you're feeling in the chat. On a scale of 1 to 10, I am feeling like a 6 or a 7. I've been doing so much. I did a lot of grocery shopping yesterday, like just had to get the house organized today. First day back to school for my daughter, so she had an orientation. Brought her there, cleaned the house, went to the dentist, picked her back up, brought her home, came here, had to upload the video, got some work to do. Yeah, we're doing a lot right now, but it's a beautiful thing. Okay, I see we got Renewed in the building. We got Tampa in the building. We got Canada. Shout out to my fellow Canadians. Amira, I see you. We're going to use a little bit of, sound healing, because one of my favorite things is just to play music. It's a vibration, it's a good vibe. And even if we don't understand the words in spirit, it's still healing. See, we got Atlanta in the building. I was so surprised by Atlanta in the sense of what a black mecca of black excellence. You understand? I was just like, whoa, like everybody in Atlanta is black. I wasn't aware of that. I was like actually culture shocked in a way. It was cool. Such a vibe. It's so rich in spirit there. The food and the heat. Listen, I've traveled to very hot countries. You understand? I've been to India, Jamaica, Brazil, Africa. But the heat in Atlanta is different. Y'all on a different vibe. Shout out to Kenya in the building. I was just in Kenya a couple months ago. Gonna come back next year for sure. Got New York in the building. Isaac said, not him calling out the heat in the South. Let me tell you, y'all heat is different. I love it, but some days it was kind of disgusting. I'm not gonna lie. Some days I felt like I was in a microwave 24/7, but I love heat, you understand? So it's all good. And one thing I loved about Atlanta was just how many people had dreadlocks. Oh my God. And just like the spectrum of locks. Now listen, of course, my heritage is from Jamaica, but even in Jamaica, like in, parts and like, in like workforce and things like, locks are still looked down upon. So to be in a place, even in Africa, to be in a place like Atlanta where like, I felt like 50% of people had dreadlocks, and that just to be like welcomed in the norm was beautiful, because I'm not used to being anywhere with that many dreadlocks, not even in Jamaica, because again, it's still kind of looked down upon as like, that's our Rastafari thing, or you smoke weed, you lazy, you slow, when that's not even the reality. But yeah, Atlanta was a beautiful city. I've been loving traveling this past year and really just absorbing those experiences. Like I went to Jamaica, I went to New York, I went to Mexico, I went to Japan, I went to Oregon, I went to California, I went to Kenya, and I went to Atlanta, all in the past 12 months. And funny thing is, I actually didn't share really any content from any of those places, which at first I felt guilty for, but then I realized, I absorbed the experiences. They were well received. I was present. That's really what matters. Someone said, Heinz, when you and your fiance said dating can really distract you from your soulmate, that really stuck with me. Did we say that? Did we say that? I guess so. Like I would say maybe I mean, if you're intentionally dating, like looking for your partner, if you're trying to like be married and like find out one, I think dating can still be a net positive, of course, right? Because how else are you going to meet people? But some people just date for sport or just for other things. And if you're dating other people who aren't on the same frequency as you or want the same outcome as you could be wasting your time, right? Like if you're dating and the people you're going out for dinner, don't want a long-term relationship or commitment, you're absolutely wasting your time. So there's a lot of filtering you have to do in the dating world. But if you're just trying to explore and meet people, that's fine too. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It could be a beautiful thing. Someone said we need a Heinz convention. Yeah, you know what's actually that was the revelation I had at the convention that I was at in Atlanta, Georgia. I was like, man, I need to put on my own event. Um, we're gonna figure it out. We have a team now that helps with me behind the scenes. I could never organize an event by myself. But I have people now. So that will be something we do. For now, we're going to be focusing on the live streams, but one day when everything is just in sync and in order, yeah, we're going to take this on the road, and I want to meet as many people as possible. We're going to have some tea. We're going to kick it. We're going to vibe. Because I think we got one of the best tribes on the internet, the number one chill spot for real. You feel me? Man, we got good people in the building. How many people do we have in the building right now? Around 200 people from all over the world. We got Brazil, we got the Western KY, more Atlanta. I love it. I know a lot of people have been asking me about the podcast. Podcast, again, I say this all the time. It comes back, I leave. It comes back, I leave. But it is coming back again because now that I have people helping me, it's taking some loads off of my plate. So I got a little bit more time. And it's bringing that experience back together, a distract-free experience, right? That's what I like about the podcast is it's distraction-free. There's nothing on the side trying to refer you to another video. There isn't ads, there isn't sponsors. It's a distraction-free experience, and it will always be like that. That's the beautiful thing about the podcast. And it is coming back very soon. And I'm going to be recording those live, like I was mentioning. If you just came in, I'm going to be recording some of those live over on Twitch. So you're going to want to check that out. If you enjoy the podcast and you want to see how I record, because it is a vibe. A lot of people will be like, yo, you're so calm. You have this essence. So if you see how I set up and record, you're also going to see how I transmit that energy through the screen and the microphone, because, we set the intention before we even do anything, and it just comes through and then it's felt. And I think that's why the podcast has been able to resonate with so many beautiful souls all around the world. I see we got Romania in the building. What? Oof. We global. We got Kenya in the building again. Love my Kenyan. Shout out to Blessed. I see you, brother, with the Buddha avatar. Boom boom. Oh man, we got Saudi Arabia in the building as well. We got Oregon, we got Philly, we got the Philippines, we got Trinidad, we got New Zealand. Oh my God, we're flying all across. We're gonna have to do a world tour one day. I think that's really my goal, one of my main goals in life, that I'm gonna be like steadfast, focused on is we got to do like a world tour. A world tour. I can see it now. That'd be beautiful, that'd be super beautiful. And every time y'all click on a video, every time y'all hop in a live stream, you help make that a reality. So I'm very appreciative of everyone. I could just tell this is a season where like A lot of us are about to reap what we have been sowing. Um, a lot of us are coming into new explorations, new opportunities. I could feel it, claim it, believe it, regardless of the spaces that you be in sometimes, find that space to cultivate that hope. That is energy, and energy you can transmute into anything. You can transmute energy into action. Action produces results. Results raise our self-worth, and then it's a positive cycle that goes in and out, right? So that's the power we have as alchemy. We are powerful individuals. Every single one of us has a relationship in spirit and with ourselves, and we are doing the best we can while we can. I'm a firm believer we all have our own path, so there's really no reason why we should be comparing our journey to anybody else. We are all on our own different timelines. Stop focusing on how old you are. Stop saying, oh, I'm 25, I should be here. Or stop saying, oh, I'm 40, I wish I would have done that. You are on your own timeline, you understand? And at the end of the day, I believe we are timeless. When I was in Atlanta at Lenox Mall, this lady was trying to sell me some skincare stuff. And she was like, how old are you? And she was like, oh, are you 27? Are you 29? Are you 32? I was like, nope. And she's like, well, how old are you? And I was like, I'm timeless. You understand? I'm timeless. And she's like, I like that. I'm going to use that. And I'm like, yeah, because we all experience time on our own timeline, right? So at the end of the day, let's just embrace where we are, have a vision of where we are going, but no, hey, that may change as well. We have the ability to pivot. We have that power. So I'm getting very excited about this next season. I could just feel it. We learned so much. We learned so much in this past year. We failed a lot. But we learned absolutely so much. We took those failures, we used it as our nutrients for our soil, for our foundation. And now we're about to blossom from that foundation and apply everything that we learned and see the growth that is about to come. And that is a powerful thing that we have. I think, good mental health and mental wealth and mental strength is simply that space where you fall, but the grace you give yourself to get back up, right? I noticed something interesting the other day, and I was like so proud of myself, because I used to be someone that just is so critical on myself, very hard on myself. Sometimes the language with self wasn't nice, but I noticed like anything bad that happens, or if I slip up, I really just pivot. I'm like, you know what? Okay, make a new plan, prepare, pivot, and just keep it moving. Like the grace is just immaculate. That ability to love ourselves, to keep ourselves accountable, that is a powerful step that, all of us should be applying in this next season. Someone said, peace. How did you manage raising your daughter and your business and creative journey? That's a great question. It's been a long journey, right? Like my daughter's at the age now where she's independent, right? Like I just got to pick her up from school, drop her off. Like, she's at the house right now. It's like, it's not like I have to be there 24/7, but a tribe. The best way to have children is to have a tribe. And, with my daughter, she does a lot of family. My mom was a big help. My stepdad was a big help. There were times where I had to shoot a wedding on a weekend. So, my mom and my stepdad would help out, or, I'm in a co-parenting situation. And because we're so cool with each other, sometimes, my daughter's family's like, hey, we're going out of town. Can she be with you for this month? And it's like, yep. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm going to be out of town for a couple extra days. Like we just have a tribe around my daughter, which is beautiful. And at the end of the day, I just take a lot of accountability and do the best I can while I can with her. Like, I bring her just as many opportunities. My daughter is my gem. She's my jewel. She's really my everything. And I feel like God blessed me with like the perfect daughter. Like she like matches my personality because she's like a mini me. But I had to work really hard. My daughter was the catapult for me to like work hard because I wanted to give her experiences, right? I wanted her to see the world at a young age. And, you know, I brought her to Japan this year. And that was like a really big accomplishment for me, especially to do it off the strength of creativity, right? Like when we were going to Japan, I told her, I'm like, we doing this off of creativity. The resources that is funding this trip is off of creative ideas, you know? And she knows, like, she's watched me grow just as much as I have watched her grow. So she's seen me like come out the mud because I have my daughter very young. So she's seen me grind through that mud and bring things into reality. So for her, she knows now like anything is possible. My daughter was playing Minecraft the other day, and she was talking to some like stranger, some kid, and then the kid asked her, "Oh, what are you listening to?" And she's like, "I'm listening to the Arctic Monkeys." And then she asked the kid, "What are you listening to?" And the kid was like, "Oh, I'm listening to this guy named Heinz." And the kid was literally listening to my podcast, you know. And she was like, "Yo, that's my dad," right? So even that for her, she's like, "Man, like I watched this guy say things and he brought it into reality." So my daughter has been a part of my creative journey this whole time because I've always spoke my dreams to her. I've always spoken everything I want to do, the things I want to bring into my life to her. So when she watches it happen, she's like, "Wow, 1+1=2." Like she sees the remedy there. So it's definitely difficult, but in my situation, we have a tribe. You know, there's a tribe raising my daughter. She has great, you know, grandparents, you know, mom, dad. She has aunties. You know, she's got so many nieces and nephews that she babysits. There's a lot of people in that equation. I see someone gave a super chat. Shout out. Oh, thank you so much, Thomas McDowell, for the super chat. One love. I appreciate it very much. Do you ever listen to FKG? Yeah, I do listen to FKG. I like his live performance. I like his live performances. Um, I like his girl too. Not like that, but what's his girl's name? What's her name? She got really cool music. I forget her name. Yeah, I can't remember her name, but yeah, FKJ is very cool. You know, and I think because I had a daughter so young, I'm done having children. You know, because I had one young. You know, my daughter is already a teenager now. It just doesn't make sense to have another one, and I think I could be of more value to the world. Um, I just like, you know, my parenting desire. I've done it. I'm doing it. You know, and I'm quite excited for the adult relationship, you know, when my daughter becomes 18, 19 years old, and then our dynamics change again, right? Because now she's an adult. I'm a young adult still, per se. And now we're going to have a new exploration together. So, yeah, quite the journey, to be honest. It's been a beautiful journey. Someone said, oh, yeah, Sundrop Garden. That's right, Sundrop Garden. She's dope. She has very beautiful visuals. Someone said, what was your childhood like? Oh, man. My childhood was like a lot of alone time. You know, first, you know, the good first 12 years. So when I was a child, it was really just me and my mom. You know, we moved, so we didn't have any family around. So I had a lot of alone time, you know. My mom was working full time. So I think that's where I developed, you know, my the observer spirit that I have, and the quiet spirit, right? Because I got very comfortable with my own energy at a very young age, and because there wasn't a lot of people around me, I didn't form attachments to people. So I never really experienced, like, a lot of people have families and have family reunions and lots of cousins. I have family, but nobody was ever around me. So I never formed those like tons of emotional attachments. So I was always pretty dependent on just like my own energy. And there's pluses and negatives to that, but as an adult, I found a lot of positives to that upbringing, as I seem to not suffer through certain things like other people do. But I was very motivated. I love sports. I loved be outside all day, every day. I lived in like the mountainside, so I was in the forest all the time. When the internet came, when we finally got a computer, I just loved the internet. I absolutely loved the internet when I got my hands on that. I loved like playing games. I loved making websites and all of that. I was a quiet kid. I was a really good kid. Like, kids would try to get me to swear, and I just wouldn't swear. They'd be like, "Say this word, say that." I was very strong-minded. Like, my mom actually said last night, she was like, "You were very odd. You were an odd kid." And I was like, "Well, thanks." But yeah, I probably was pretty odd. And I wasn't easily influenced. It was very hard to get me to do something I didn't want to do. I remember like grade 9, like my friends like making fun of me. They're trying to get me to smoke weed. We were snowboarding, and they're like calling me a loser. Like, they're like just doing all the typical bully stuff. And there wasn't even like an ounce, like a drip in my spirit that was phased by that. There wasn't anything that was like, oh, I had to mold my actions, or I had to mold my behavior to be accepted. I was just like, yo, like, I wasn't easily influenced. And that may also be because I never felt the need to seek acceptance from so many people at a young age, because there wasn't a lot of people around me. So the validation really came from myself. I learned to validate myself at a very young age, instead of like constantly, going to my parents, or constantly going to grandparents, or going to all these other people to validate me. I don't know what it's like to seek like the validation from family. I don't know what that is like. I don't It's never been on my mind. So what I love is that, because we all have our own experiences, our own different timelines, and our childhood is such a important factor in who we become as adults. And I believe we can transcend ourselves regardless of our childhood, but it's still very important. It's why I really try to practice understanding and empathy for anybody, because I don't know what their childhood was like. I don't know what their experiences were like that brought them to that belief, or that brought them to that opinion, right? Like, somebody who has maybe wildly different political views from me. Well, I don't know how they were raised. I don't know how they were brought up. I don't know the suffering they went through, or the realizations they had. So I always kind of lean on understanding before trying to make judgments, right? Because we just all have such a different upbringing. Our foundations, our soil is completely different. You know, Different economics statuses, different family dynamics. Everybody's experience is so different, and it ultimately ends up forming who we are. So it's a little bit of who I. Someone said, I don't know what it's like to seek validate. Yeah, I don't actually. What aspects of family and career are the most challenging for you? Uh, the most challenge family. I don't really. The most challenging aspects for me for family is, again, because the way I grew up. Um, I often forget to like even just like check in with family, right? Because I grew up like very not around a lot of people. So I didn't grow up missing people that much, right? So on a daily basis, I had to constantly like kind of remind myself, oh, go check in with this person, well, not even on a weekly basis. I had to check in with other people. I think communication with family is a little bit of a struggle for me as well, because I didn't come up in an expressive household. So communication, sometimes just saying what's on your heart to family, can be difficult. But that's a muscle, right? And anything we exercise, we become better at, and we become stronger. Career wise, the most challenging thing is working with others, and, trying to duplicate my spirit into other people so I can bring things to the next level, which I'm kind of doing right now. But it's when you're so self-reliant and you learned how to do a lot of things by yourself, it can be very hard to bring people into your process. But I think one thing about me is I fail fast and I learn quick, and then I move forward. So it's not. Oh, who's calling me? Oh, let me put that on. Let me put that on mute. This is an amazing question. If this was a story of your life, what chapter would you call this? I'd actually call this the beginning. I'll call this the beginning because that's how I literally feel. I feel like I'm just beginning. I feel like everything before this was like just like the preface, was like the prologue, was just the writer's note. This is the beginning. I feel like we are just coming out of like a new womb, and that's a beautiful feeling to have, to still like, walk outside and like, see things in a new light and see yourself in a new light. I actually almost feel like a new person every single day. It's actually very interesting. I dissociate with my old self very quickly. So I'm constantly like feeling reborn. This would literally be the beginning. This is what that chapter would be. Even though there's like 300 pages before this one, I would still label it the beginning. Advice on loving family / friends from a distance. I'm definitely not the best person to ask that, because I was just mentioning I barely keep in contact with people sometimes. But really, it is just staying connected. Shooting over those FaceTime calls, finding out what's going on in their life, supporting them in any way that you can. I was just talking to one of my friends who lives in Japan, and we've been trying to call each other back and forth for days now. But it's like opposite time zones, 14 hours difference. But once we got on the phone, we're just, hey, what's going on? What's going on with you? And then now we're finding a new project to collaborate on, and just creating this space to vent. I was talking to actually a different family member like a month ago, and we're on the phone for like 3-4 hours, and just created the space for that individual to really, pour out a lot they have been holding on to. So sometimes that's all it is as well, is, getting on the phone, getting on FaceTime, and, being some good ears for someone to vent to, or, just, share the joys that both of you are experiencing. Can we save this live? I usually do save the live, so yeah, maybe I'll save it up. How do you become calmer, and what did you practice to become the calm person you are? Well, I'd say I'm just naturally calm by nature, some people are just highly energetic, and that's like their nature. That's like their default mode. My default mode is calm. It is. But I guess if I'm feeling irritated or like annoyed, like today, like how was my, like what did I do this morning? I woke up, I went downstairs and I wrote. I think I wrote about 30, 40 minutes, just whatever was on my mind. Then after that, I made some food. I went into my garage. I did a little workout. No, actually, I did Qigong first. So, I did a little bit of energy work. Did that for 20 minutes. Then I did some push-ups and pull-ups. And then I had a drink. The way I live my life, I think, produces even more of a calm effect. The music I listen to, the things I consume. I go for walks quite often just in nature, quick ones, quick 15, 20 minutes. But my default mode is to be more calm. It is to like just try to understand whatever is going on versus reacting. Naturally have a very positive mindset. Someone said, "Are you still in a relationship?" The fans want to know. Yeah, I am. Of course, I am. I just don't really want to like have like a. I just don't want my YouTube to be like about my relationship. That's why I don't really make content anymore like that. I only did like a couple times, but then I kind of quickly learned that like, once you start to make content about your relationship, it's all people care about. It's all people want to know, and I don't want to monetize that. There's a lot of negative things that come with that. So, you know, what foods do you enjoy? I love my fruit. I definitely love my fruit, especially tropical fruits. I like salmon. I love dark chocolate. I love honey. I love coconut water. I love tea. Again, fruit. Just I love fruit. Absolutely love fruit. Yeah. 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 How do you use your voice despite the haters online? Crazy thing is, I don't actually get that many haters. The only haters I get is very few, to be honest. Like I get like 98% love. So it would be crazy to focus on the 2% hate. I think hate should only bother you if you feel for some reason that hate is true. Then really it's just a critique. But if it's not true, then you really just have to focus on the love, right? When you lead with love, you lead with love. For some reason, we are hardwired to focus on the negativity. You could have 100 positive comments, but one person says something and that's all you can see. That's all you can focus on, right? Maybe it's a survival instinct, but instead of surviving, let's thrive. So I just kind of focus on the love. Like all of y'all give back such beautiful energy. Sometimes I get some like weird energy from people, like, but it's like even their intentions I know is not to be harmful. They're just like very dogmatic in certain beliefs, and they just I don't know, it is what it is. But yeah, I get a lot of love, to be honest. I get a lot of love, and it's probably because I don't stir the pot. Like a lot of people intentionally try to piss people off because they know if people are riled up, that gets views, that gets attention. Like negativity gets people's attention far more than something positive. if you see like a YouTube video and it's positive, you may just put watch later. But if it's something very spicy, it may be like, oh my God, I need to watch that now. I don't really make anything like that. Just because I don't want to put myself in that frequency. I don't want to put myself in the frequency of always trying to find the most controversial, divisive thing for my own personal gain. I just think like short term and long run, that would just crumble my spirit. So I don't even really engage with that. So I don't experience too much hate. So it's okay. Are your DMs on Instagram open? Yeah. That reminds me, I still need to buy the reminder deck. Yeah. Do I have the cards here? Have you ever smoked ganja? What's your advice to someone who wants to quit? Yeah, I did. I quit just because it was a habit that was no longer serving me. It wasn't really bringing anything fruitful to my life anymore. So I just had to simply stop buying it and, remove myself from circles where that's all that was happening, and realize the same energy I was trying to attain from that, I could actually just attain in other ways, within myself. You can create a natural high many different ways. So maybe first, for me, I just like to cut things off cold turkey. That's how I do things. Some people, you may have to wean off, whatever it may be. Take time to learn your own mind, how you operate. I'm very good with just cutting things off, and that's just what I did. I make a decision and I'm kind of like stick to it. But after, stopping, and I just, felt the benefits, I was like, why would I go back? And then I just never did. So, do you drink alcohol? No, I'm not an alcohol drinker, but if it's like a special event or something, or like I'll have a drink, maybe it's a glass of wine or something like that, but I don't like to get drunk or nothing like that. You're not going to see me just drink a beer. It's not a thing. I used to drink though when I was younger, and I used to party quite hard for a few years, and drinking alcohol, getting drunk was probably the worst thing I did in my life. Because it just, my body doesn't agree with it. The silly things you end up doing when you're drunk. It's just, I don't know, it just didn't bear any good fruit. But, I'm not against a casual drink here and there, or to celebrate, or to enjoy, what I love is experiences, right? So I love going to a good restaurant and having good food, good appetizers. And if they got like a really, creative drink menu, I'll try a drink just for like the creation of it, But yeah, there's nothing in me that's like, let's go get drunk. Nah, it's not my vibe. But everyone has their own vibe, but you have to be careful with it. It could be easily a drug. It could bring you down. I just like to feel good. I like to feel good when I wake up. I like to have energy. I like to drink my tea. I'll drink kombucha, before drink some kombucha instead. So where do you find inspiration? All around, really, right? Being present throughout the day, through conversations with people, I find inspiration. Just putting my mind and my spirit in a space to receive, having experiences, traveling. Music inspires me. But if I don't have inspiration, I don't rely on inspiration or motivation. I rely on discipline. Because discipline is always there. You can always instill discipline. Motivation and inspiration is like the wind. Sometimes you feel it, sometimes you don't. but discipline is always at your disposal. So I rely on discipline, but trying to put myself in a good space to receive inspiration, and talking to people, like a one-on-one. I'm like a one-on-one type of person. I realized this other day, I'm not the type of person that likes to hang out in big groups of people. I like one-on-one conversations, and usually through a one-on-one conversation I can really get a sense of somebody. I could see what their gift is, what their uniqueness is, and just I always find some type of value in those conversations. It could be like one word or one perspective they share, and that inspires a podcast, and then that podcast inspires something else, and then now we've just created this cycle of motivation and inspiration. But sounds, style, design, just colors, nature, a lot of things inspire me. I'm really big on aesthetics. I'm really big on using my eyesight. Someone says demons live in the alcohol, spirits. Yeah, I don't really focus on the concept of demons, to be honest, but I find people kind of get into rabbit holes, and the next thing you know, everything is demonic. But yeah, if you get drunk, I would say you definitely can lower your nature to do things that you normally wouldn't do if you were in your conscious mind. But what is an art form that you want to learn more about and grow? I guess architecture would be something I would love to learn more about. Yeah, architecture and sound, really sound. I'm trying to focus more on sound, and it's kind of why, like, man, I love editing videos, but it just takes so much time. So like right now, I'm not trying to do too much editing. That's why I do more live streaming. I'm trying to take that extra time and put it into more producing sound, because that really brings me a lot of joy. Do you guys believe being proud is a good thing? No, I believe it's good to be proud of your work, right? Being proud and having too much pride is a completely different thing, right? When you're prideful, you cut yourself off. You're not able to be humble. You think you're better than everybody. But when you're proud, you're just proud of your own efforts, the things, the energy, the hard work you put in. You want to show what you've done to the world, because you're like, listen, this is my gift to the world, and I put a lot of attention into it. So, being proud and prideful, I think, is a different thing. Someone said demons are just your lower chakra. Yeah, sure. You could say that, right? But some people, some people refer to like actual demons as like different things, but some people it's metaphorical. Some people it's literal, physical beings trying to create chaos on your life. I don't know. My life is peaceful. I'm grateful for it. I feel like more people, I kind of notice it's like more people focus on like a demon or like a devil character more than like God themselves. It's like they give more energy to that than anything else. I'm just like, why live like that? It seems very stressful. And it seems like those are the people who are always in some type of spiritual warfare as well, because they give us so much energy. They give us so much energy, It's like you create a boogeyman and all you see is a boogeyman in everything that you do. When really there's so much power out here. There's so much love out here. There's a lot of unity. There's a lot of places you can fill with your energy. You could change the world. One individual can change the world. I do believe in that, right? But first you got to change the environment within yourself, raise yourself up, shift your perspective, your mindset. You start to see the world in a different way, and you'll start to see how you can fill voids with your energy. You uplift yourself, you uplift the world. But when all you do is focus on like the evils of the world and get caught up in those rabbit holes, other people monetize that. A lot of people push fear out here, a lot of fear. A lot of people monetize fear and want to keep you in that fearful state, right? Because that's a controlling state. And now once they have your mind and your attention is your greatest currency, isn't it? The most important thing about you is your attention. It's your energy. It's where you place your focus. Once somebody has all of that because of your fear, now they monetize it for themselves, and they keep you there. They keep you in the lower nature, afraid, fearful, right? So it's important that we are able to unplug ourselves and tune out from the world and those, you know, fearful rabbit holes, and raise ourselves up, you know, renew our nature so we can be a positive change. And then naturally you just like help others. Like I always say, you and 5 friends could go on a hike, you know, early in the morning where it's just pitch black out, and it only takes one of you to turn on a flashlight to illuminate the whole path. So when you raise yourself up and you change your life, you naturally illuminate the path for others, because now you're shining bright. You're showing people what is possible without even trying. You're not even preaching. You don't even have to be preaching. You're just doing it. Your actions are illuminating the path for other people. Your path is bright, but that has an effect, right? It's like the rays of your light is going off and shedding on other people and showing them what is possible. So that is like what I like to focus on. You understand? That is what I like to focus on. And that's just a evolution. That's just, I've been in a place like many years ago where I was like so obsessed with like the negative forces, or like, oh, something's trying to get me, or like, oh, I'm in like some type of warp. I used to be there, right? But then I learned about my power. I learned about grace, and I learned about my focus and my energy and where to place it. And now it's just like things are very peaceful, like very peaceful. I get annoyed, I get irritated at times by things, but those are about the only things that kind of like energies that are offsetting that I experience, right? I don't experience too much anger. I really just experience, or fear. I really just experience, I get annoyed sometimes, or I get irritated. That's about it. Someone says, do you consider yourself free? Yeah, I do. I consider myself free because when I wake up in the morning, I decide what I am doing for the day. I woke up, last 2 days, I kind of woke up feeling a little bit sick. If I wanted to, I could have just laid in bed. I decided to get up and do things, but that was my free will. You know, I decided to do what I wanted to do. You know, I worked for the level of freedom that I have, and we're going to continue. You know, now my goal is to help free other people, you know, directly around me, which I already have. Like I've supported multiple people in the past year, you know, in ways where it allows them to, you know, focus on different things for themselves. But like, you know, the whole purpose of my channel is just to remind people of the tools that they have so they can free themselves up and continue. And then also, you know, I think everyone has this goal. Like, I'd love to retire my mom. I think everybody wants to do that for their parents if your parents aren't like well off. So that is a goal of mine. So, you know, what's the point of being free? So that is like another aspect of the freedom that I want to, you know, work on. I think freedom is also, you know, freedom is not just financially though. Freedom comes in many ways. It's being able to express yourself. It's being able to, you know, say something you want to say. You know, having a passport, you know, having a passport is a level of freedom, really. And that's a privilege. That's a blessing, you know, that's really a blessing. And when I travel, I always remind myself that not everybody has that luck of just being born in a country where that passport allows you to go almost anywhere. You know, it's a great luck, you know, that's all it is. Thank you, CJ James, who said she's very glad she's come across these convos and readings. Thank you, Robin. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Someone says, how do you deal with people trying to poke holes in your armor and find anything wrong with stuff that you do? One, I kind of look at it as if maybe, you know, they're doing it out of love in the sense of like, you know, they're trying to look out for you. But two, again, like I mentioned earlier, I really don't go to anybody for my validation. So when I was in Atlanta recently, one of my friends said something to me. He's like, yo, he's like, I know not to tell you what to do. Because he's like, I know you may not listen. And I know that sounds like arrogant of me, right? Because you should be open to sound advice. And I am actually. But in my life, majority of the very important pivotal steps I wanted to make and take, nobody agreed, right? Everyone said otherwise. But I still did them. And guess what? They worked out in my favor, right? It worked out to be true that I was right. So I'm not saying that I am always right, but like when it comes to like my unique path, if someone says something to me or tries to poke a hole in it and it doesn't resonate and my intuition's like, nope, I just reject it. And I don't take it personal. You know, even when I wanted to grow my hair, everyone told me not to. Like even down to like little things. I was like, I want to grow dreadlocks. Everyone's like, no, don't do it. Don't do it. You're not going to look good. Now that I have dreadlocks and sometimes I joke about cutting my hair, everyone's like, don't cut your hair. I'm like, exactly, right? Because people don't necessarily have the best vision for you. They may want the best for you, but they don't know what is best for you. You have to cultivate that vision from your heart, your spirit, your mind, and your abilities. I always say this, and I'll say this till the day that I pass. Hopefully I can live to like 130. But most of the time, they're just judging your first few steps, not your heart, because they have no clue what is in your heart. They don't. If you have a dream, it's literally in here and in here. Your family, your friends, they can't see it. Now, sometimes we get lucky and we do have people around us who understand and they support it. Or we have people who don't understand, but they're still like, hey, go all in. I got you. And that's beautiful. That's bonus. That's like the icing. But I don't expect people to understand something that I haven't brought into fruition. If I have an idea, if I have a dream, if I have a new business idea and I say it out loud and I am met with resistance, I don't look at my friends or family like, you are a bunch of haters. Well, at this point, I might do that because I would be like, listen, I've been showing you what I can do, right? But in the beginning, I wouldn't be like, you're a bunch of haters. I'd be like, okay, I got work to do. You know, I got to bring it into fruition so it kind of makes sense. So if people are poking holes in that armor and try to critiquing what I am doing, and I know I'm doing the best I can while I can and building, you know, my life, I just continue to do so. And, you know, just know, hey, you know, this hard work, you know, this belief, you know, will come into fruition one day and then it will make sense to everybody else. And then next thing you know, all those pokings and critique turns into claps, you know, and turns into, oh my God, you do it. You did it. That's amazing. That will happen. I try not to be in the spirit of like, I'll show you. Like that's not the spirit you want to step into, right? Because that's like a revengeful spirit. You could use a little bit of that for fuel. If anything, if you step into a, I'll show you energy, do it from a, I'll show you. I'll show you that, you know, dreams can become reality. I had a family member one time when I was like 21 or 22 tell me, listen, the reality is people have dreams and they just die. You know, people don't live out their dreams. And when they said that to me, I was like, that's so depressing. I was like, I don't believe in that. I'm not listening to that. And I didn't. And now, you know, I am living out my dream and going to continue. Like it's only going to get bigger. It's only going to get better. It's only going to get crazier from here. Right. And now those same people or that same person has said to me like, damn, like how did you know? Right. So focus on your vision, right? If you believe in it, focus, right? If you say like, hey, I'm going to start a business and then people around you notice, hey, you're just out getting drunk all the time or like your energy's all over the place and they're poking holes in your vision. Well, now they're poking holes because it doesn't seem like you're that serious about what you're trying to do. And that makes sense. And they should poke holes, right? Like at the end of the day, if you say you're going to do something, do it, you know, no matter how long it's going to take. And people will get on board. They will, you know, they will. It's a beautiful thing when it happens. Have you ever experienced astral projection before? If so, how did you take everything? Were you more open with your spirit? I'll be completely honest. When it comes to like astral projection and all these other topics, it's not something I really actually care about. Now, like I've had I've had lucid dreams where I can control my dreams, and I've had dreams where I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna leave this dream, and in the dream I'll go like this, and then I wake up. I've done that. It's like the wildest experience. But for me, it's just not like something I'm interested in, like the astral projections and all those stuff, or like when people talk about like jumping into different dimensions and realities. Like I'm very much like, let me take my shoes off, let me take my socks off and put them into the soil on earth, because I'm here, I'm on earth. Let me enjoy this. You understand? I'm a human being this time around. Let me be and feel human. I don't need to go somewhere else. You understand? I don't need to leave to some other dimension. I don't need to, right? I can tune my own frequency, I can set my vibration, and I can receive a lot of ideas and like wisdom, and share that with others. But at the end of the day, like certain like spiritual topics just don't interest me, because maybe when I was younger, it was more like entertainment for me and I was interested. But for me now, it's like, nah, let me laugh, let me cry, let me get angry, let me overcome jealousy, let me feel happy. Let me just like be in these human emotions. I'm not trying to escape those at all. These are offerings to me. I love to learn through them. I love to feel them. I love that. It's a human experience. That's what I'm here for. And then maybe my next experience will be something else. But while I'm human, I'm gonna be human. You know what I'm saying? But of course, we're gonna have like a strong relationship with, our higher self, with source, with like, our spirit. But I just do that through communication, through my creativity, through raising my heart posture every single day. And I think there's like cool channels for those type of topics, but my channel will never really be about that. You're never gonna see me make a video saying, hey, I astral projected, or hey, I jumped timelines into a different dimension. I'm not that type of spiritualist. I'm much more like feet in the ground. I'm rooted in earth. Simple. I like simple things as well. I don't know if y'all noticed, but I like to keep things very simple. I like to communicate in a way where a 10-year-old can easily understand, but still a 50-year-old who is like, educated and loves philosophy can still enjoy, understand, and still be challenged by a perspective, or just reminded in a way. I'm very universal in the way I speak. I think that's reflective of the chat right now. The chat, we have people from all over the world. We have people in the Netherlands and Kenya and America and Brazil. We have people all over the world from different ages, different races, right? And gender, right? So that's the way I kind of approach things. When I tell people all the time, my spiritual practice is just expressing myself. That's it. It's just expressing myself. It's my creativity. It's my self-development tool. It teaches me about my own ego. It teaches me how to be present, right? It teaches me how to be in service to others. It teaches me how to, check my selfish ways, but also when to be selfish. It does everything I believe that like a religion or another spiritual path would do for somebody when you step into it for those reasons. So that's kind of how I approach spirituality, in a very simple way. Very simple way. Very simple, although I do love reading different scriptures from different beliefs and things like that, I still try to take complex things and just simplify it into practical. Like, what actually benefits my life, right? What actually benefits my life? Because some things I think can unplug us from reality, and then now we're struggling just to cope with our day to day, right? We're kind of focused on like jumping in some other dimension timeline, but we're just struggling with staying consistent or disciplined, right? So anything, I like to make sure I can actually implement it, simplify it and implement it, so it's actually uplifting my life and I'm not escaping this experience, right? You are light. Shout out to Madeline. Oregon in the building. I love Oregon. Oh man, I love Oregon. Someone says, I have a question about how to tap back into my creativity. I lost myself in my relationship and I've been trying to get her back. Where should I start with? So this actually happened to me 11 years ago. I got out of a really rough relationship and I lost my creativity as well. And I started by reading The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. And I started with the morning pages concept. Every single day, waking up and just writing what's on my mind. And I think in that book, she talks about taking yourself out on single dates every week, like taking yourself out on a date. So to get my creativity back, I had to get to know myself again, right? I had to get to enjoy myself again, especially after a relationship. It's like you're tapped out on energy. You know, you gave so much of yourself and it didn't work out, and now you just like barely have anything left. So that book really helped me recultivate a relationship with myself. And I didn't even focus on creating. I actually put that on the back burner. I was just like, yo, let's just get to know myself again and love myself again. And I removed the pressure of having to create. And then naturally, I started to create again. Another book I would pick up for sure is Rick Rubin's The Creative Act. A lot of good advice in there. And then yeah, just, even just reserving time for creative play, not looking for the inspiration, but just, hey, just reserve that time and see what happens and get back into the rhythm of things. But you don't have to pressure yourself. I actually sold my camera at one point. I sold my camera for like, I didn't have a camera for a good 18 months after doing nothing but filming for like 6 years. And I sold my camera and I just stopped creating, but I went on a journey again of knowing myself. And through knowing myself, we're all creative beings. So like creating is like breathing or eating. It will naturally happen again. Um, Especially when you create the space and the environment where like naturally that energy just wants to do that. Someone says how to move on from someone. That's just a process. Grief is a process that you can't hack. You got to go through all the emotions. You can't hack it, but you can heal it. Cultivate some community. Dive in on a craft, something you can apply your energy to. You know, wish them the best in spirit, but know, you are walking on your own path, and stay strong. But there's no real way to hack that. You can only heal it. You have to go right through it, and you got to go through the spectrum of emotions that a heartbreak has to offer. Because there's anger, right? There's sorrow, there's sadness, there could be resentment, frustration. Like it's interesting when you go through a heartbreak how like your emotions just go through this roller coaster, and sometimes you start off missing them, and then after through a lot of thought you start to think about some things, and then you get angry, and then you start to resent them, and then you start to resent yourself for being in that relationship in the first place, and then you come back into you're kind of missing them again, and then you come back into forgiving yourself, and then you come back into some love for yourself, and then maybe years later you find it in your spirit to forgive them, so you finally release them, and it's like this whole journey that you got to go through, you know like it's like a singular road almost. It will look different for everybody, but there is a spectrum of emotions you have to go through. Problem is, a lot of the times we often we try to distract ourselves by bringing other people into the mix, or toxic habits, and we think we are hacking that experience, but really we are just delaying it. So again, you can't hack grief. You can only heal through it, and there's always an offering in that experience, which is something you should kind of focus on. Like at the end of this tunnel, I'm going to have a deeper understanding of myself, and the path will be even more clear for me. And at the end of the day, love is always on the table. There's somebody out there more aligned for you. How come all your podcasts aren't on Spotify? I mean, no, I mean they all are there. Um, well, they should be there. Can you marry me? No, I can't. But there definitely is somebody there for you. Hey, such a vibe. I love this vibe right now. We feeling good. We diving in. I like this question right now. Y'all be bringing good questions. Remember, this is the number one chill spot on the internet. This is a place where we truly vibe and we communicate. You know what I noticed actually? A lot of live streams, people won't even answer questions unless you pay them. But over here, we just dive in, we connect. It's not even about that. You understand? We just get down because at the end of the day, I believe we are all just transcending and sharing value within ourselves, and we are like reflections of one another. So you have value and experiences to give us, I have some value and experiences to give you, and at the end of the day, as a tribe, as a community, we just going to elevate and live our best lives. So someone said, how do you define having a vision? I always say, lean into your sight, lean into what you like. When you go shopping, you walk into a store and you start filtering through t-shirts and clothes, but then something catches your eye. Why does it catch your eye? And somebody else slips right through that and it doesn't catch their eye. So that's your style, right? That's your vision. Having a vision is knowing what you like and what you don't like, and grabbing all these things that you like and cultivating a grand vision and carving a life for yourself, right? So you may say, hey, I don't like, for me, I'm like, I don't like working in an office. I did it. I don't like it. Me, I was like, I like a sense of freedom. Me, I was like, I want to do something with creativity. I was like, I want to do something that's never been done before. This is like 15 years ago, I'm making these decisions. I'm taking things I like and I don't like, and I'm bringing them together and then creating a vision. But for me I've never had like the clearest vision of like, hey, I'm going to be this. But my vision was more value based. I want to create a life for myself that gives me a sense of freedom, that is fun, that brings value to others, right? And that can take care of multiple people. And whatever happens within those wants and desires, I'm cool with. Like, at first I thought I wanted to be a music video director. And then from there, I thought I wanted to be a documentary filmmaker. And then from there, I didn't want to do anything. And then from there, I, transcended into other things and then other things. And now we're here doing this, but who knows what we transcend into after, right? But just having a vision for yourself that is dependent on what you like, and what is true to your heart and your mind, and not the world's opinions or other people's influences, right? Like my vision, if something interesting to me is like when I'm coming up with my ideas, I rarely ever go to other people for their approval, right? I'll share things or I'll share like finished products with people, but I rarely go to other people for their approval. Nothing wrong with that, but I just really know what I like and what I don't like. And if someone doesn't agree with my vision, that's cool. It's my vision, right? I'm carving out my own path. For me, I think it's nice to have a lot of curiosity and mystery within a vision. I think in the past, like it was like, hey, what's your plan, right? So you're going to school, you're doing this, and then you're going to do this, and then you're going to do this. And that is beautiful if you can have a plan. But for me, I actually like to play with uncertainty. I like to leave room for surprises and for things to, go in multiple different directions, right? I am more wired for that. Some people aren't really wired for uncertainty and they prefer more stability. Neither is better. Neither is better than, right? It's just dependent on you as an individual. So having a vision for yourself as well is like, do you require mass stability, or are you okay with a little bit of uncertainty in your path and sticking to that? Having vision as well is like, right now I'm creating a new website, going to be redoing all my branding, and I've been in Pinterest just gathering aesthetics, materials, textures, colors, and basically matching what I feel in my soul these days. And I want to bring that into the world, into merchandise, into my website, so everything is very cohesive. And that's just our vision. I gotta cook dinner soon. How do you avoid women to pursue the vision? Listen, as men, I'm gonna tell you something. If you distract yourselves from becoming the man you want to be, you'll never get the woman that you want anyways, right? So if you're constantly distracted, right? If your lust is leading you into all these places and you're wasting time, energy, and money, you'll never actually get the woman or the type of woman you want in the end, right? Because you're not going to become a successful man, one with like value within yourself and outside of yourself. When I was, there was a point where I looked into like all the most successful men, and I noticed like a lot of them would struggle with lust, and that would be their downfall. So I was like, man, I do not want that to be my downfall, right? I want to be in control of my sexual energy. So I went celibate. I went celibate for like 3 years and then another for 2 years. And I studied sexual energy from Mantak Chia online. And I had more knowledge of that. Once I have understanding of my sexual energy, and then I had the discipline, well, now I wasn't wasting my energy and I wasn't getting myself into the wrong situations with the wrong woman. And then I was able to develop value and then create value in my life and then like make more money. And then at the end of the day, if you become a valuable man and then you become resourceful, you'll not, and then also add emotional intelligence on top of that, you'll just attract a lot of women regardless. Like you won't even have to chase. So like screw the chase, focus on you, build yourself up, right? Keep that vision for yourself and keep going. But you got to remove porn, right? You can't be watching porn because that's going to keep leading you astray. You got to be mindful of that. You got to be putting your energy into other things, starting a business, putting it into work, putting into like a creative hobby, putting into knowledge, learning, whatever it may be. You got to take all that sexual energy and put it into something else, right? You basically have to almost starve it as well. And then over time, you just have more discipline and understanding of it. Like, that's why I'm like, I've always been able to be like friends with women because I grew up from a very young age, always having like my best friends as a kid was a girl, were girls, because my mom, her friends had daughters. So I was around girls my whole life at a very young age. And then, so I always was able to look at women as friends and like have that relationship. So I've always had that ability to not have to mix sex in a friendship with a girl. Like I've had beautiful, beautiful friendships with women. Also ones who are just beyond beautiful and kept it strictly platonic friendships. Now, maybe a couple of those, maybe they almost tried something, but because I just wanted to be friends with them, I was able to create that pathway for us and like respectfully just guide that relationship, right? And that just takes discipline, right? You want to be able to have discipline, right? You don't want to be somebody that just can't, that just like falls to their knees because someone offers you sex or someone sends you a text, come over, and next thing you know, you drop everything that you're doing because someone said come over. Like, you don't want to be like that. You will never grow. You will never be able to place your energy. You'll never be able to have a successful marriage if that's what you want one day. It just won't happen, right? So that's one of the most important things. One of the most important things. And I recognized that like 12 years ago, you know, when I decided, I was like, yo, I'm not watching porn. That's a waste of my energy. I'm not watching porn. It's a waste of my energy. It's having a negative effect on me. You know, I went celibate. I was like, I need to be in control of my energy, you know, because we're going to have a lot. Like, if you want to be in a new position, that new position is going to come with responsibility. Don't go be praying to God saying, hey, God, I want to be this person. I want to be in this position, but then not expect the responsibility that comes with it, right? A higher position requires also more responsibility. Not just work responsibility, but responsibility within yourself. You're going to have to transcend a lot of things within yourself. You're going to have to transcend a lot of those lustful desires. You're going to have to transcend the want and the need to just like binge out on crappy foods. You're going to have to transcend that need to gossip or that need to like get into fights all the time because someone angered you or triggered you, right? At the end of the day, we're transcending things within ourselves. That's why I always say our credentials is in our spirit, because really it kind of starts here, right? And then manifests out here. You can have a lot of money, but if you're shitty in here, at the end of the day, you know, this is going to work against your money, right? Like, there's a lot of people who just waste their money or lose it all because, you know, they get into negative situations with the wrong people because they don't have control over themselves. So, and that's like anything. That's this consistency, that's dedication, that's understanding. Take time to learn your own mind, right? Take time to learn your own mind. See what makes you fall and trip up. You know, study what makes you weak when it comes to your sexual desires and be mindful of that, right? If you know you struggle with saying no to a drink, well, you shouldn't be at the bar. If you know you struggle with getting drunk, you shouldn't be at the club. You should completely remove yourself from these environments until you are in control, until you can step into these environments and respectfully say no. Or you could literally have one drink and cut it off. I saw a podcast with Steve Harvey, and he has a one drink rule. He's like, I never drink more than one drink. He has that discipline. He'll have one drink because he knows, especially in his life and his industry, having a drink is such a normal, common thing. Hey, sit down, have a drink. Let me show you this new wine we got. He has one drink. That's it. Just for the culture, just for the experience. He has the ability and the discipline to do that. But if he didn't have the ability and the discipline to do that, one drink would be out the question. So you actually have to understand who you are and where you're at right now and where you are weak, and then work on those. There was a time when I was young where if I went to the club, I would drink with my friends, you know, even if my intention wasn't to drink, I would end up drinking. So I had to remove myself from these environments until I had that strength to be able to walk into those environments and be like, no, I'm good. I'm just vibing off my own supply tonight, just my own energy. And once I accomplished that, I was so proud of myself, right? Because there was a time where I was like so shy, I was so introverted that I used alcohol as a way to express myself in environments that I didn't even enjoy because everyone was on such like I'm not gonna call it a high frequency, but they were just very extroverted because of the liquor and who they are already. I felt like I had to match that energy. I would drink as well. That was a weakness. I was coping, and it left destructive habits. Once I identified that, I took time to learn my mind, and then we transcended that. And ultimately, we have more energy. We took that energy, we put into things that matter. Those things, we stay consistent with it. Years later, they grow, they manifest. Next thing you know, you're living a better life for yourself. Wow, shout out to everyone in the chat right now. We got like 300 people in here. We be vibing. Yeah, I love it. Mel says, I can relate to the drinking to get comfortable as an introvert in social settings. Yeah, so I would say if you're an introvert, drinking could be a great toxin for you, right? Because it's not as if you are drinking just to have fun, but you're drinking now to cope, right? It becomes the very thing you need to feel comfortable in environments where just don't align with who you are, a club, an event, whatever it may be. So you drink for the confidence, and that becomes a habit, and then you start to rely on that. So you have to be very careful as an introvert. You have to be, you as an introvert, you gotta, what I find with introverts is, or even people who are shy, is being shy and confidence is completely a different thing. I was very shy, but I had a lot of confidence. I just didn't know how to express that confidence. So my whole life when I was shy and I was timid and I was quiet, it wasn't because I had low self-worth. It wasn't because I didn't have confidence. I actually had a lot of confidence. I just didn't know how to express that confidence. And I find with introverts, a lot of introverts are actually highly confident. They believe in themselves. They understand their own voice because they're in their own mind a lot of times. They hang out with themselves, but they don't know how to express that confidence or be comfortable like they are in their own environment, in newer environments. So then they may drink or do something else to cope with those environments, and it could just be a horrible negative cycle. So what you have to do is you have to actually go and discover how to express that confidence, how to feel comfortable in these environments, right? It's very important. So you don't use drinking as a way to cope, and it is possible. And then you actually get to drink from your own free will. You have a drink out of your own free will. It's not because, oh, I need to take this edge off. It's just because you're like, hey, I'm gonna have a drink, right? It's actually a free will decision, not one from a void or a gap. Like, oh my God, I can't control. I don't feel good here, right? We want to, when we notice those things, those are the things we want to work on, and that takes time. You know, that takes time. So give yourself some grace. Julie says, you have completely changed my mood of the day. That is always the goal. That is the singular goal of the live streams, is just to elevate the mood just a little bit, or maybe a whole lot, whatever it may be. So I am glad my mood is lifted. I came in feeling like I think I said like a 6, right? I'm definitely at an 8.5 out of 9 now. How does one navigate to finding their signature with their artistry? More understanding of yourself. Like I used that metaphor earlier. When you're shopping and you notice a shirt that you like, that right there is your individual style, right? Like, what is it about that shirt that made you stop at that shirt? You could, if you go to a thrift shop, you could flip through thousands of shirts, but then something catches your eye, right? Pay attention to that. Like, start to pay attention to what your eye and what your ear likes, and then double down that, and through that you'll be able to start to curate your own style. What you also have to do is you have to like kind of tune out other people and stop consuming so many other things from other people and comparing yourself, right? Because you want to harness your own individual style. But like everyone has that natural inclination to be like, I like that, I don't like that. I like this song, I don't like this song. But start to meditate on, well, why do I like that? You know, why do my eyes go towards these colors naturally? Why do my eyes go towards these textures? You know, why I naturally like these type of sounds and this type of music. This is your style. And once you're able to like kind of figure out what it is about these things and then bring that all together and master your craft, because the more control you have over your craft, the more vision, the better you get, you can bring the vision out. That's all like creating is you're trying to bring something that's within here out of here. And to be able to do that, you need to harness this. You need to harness the abilities to do that, right? Like when you first start doing something, it sucks. Why does it suck? Because in your head it looked better. So now the whole challenge is, how do I get what I see in my head out the same way? For video, that happened with me. It's like, oh my God, I could see it in here, but it's not looking the way I want it to look. So I had to learn my color correction. I had to shoot more. I had to experiment more. You know, sound, same thing. So just double down on your style. And you already have that. Like everyone has that. Like everybody has that individual style. Everybody can go shopping and see something they like, see something they don't like. And just question yourself, well, what is it? You know, what is it about that? Go on Pinterest, make a mood board. That's what I recently did. It really just helped. I just made a mood board of like just things I liked. And I instantly saw a theme. There was a whole color palette there. There was a whole texture there. And I was like, yeah, these are the things I've been gravitating towards lately. This is my style in this season. This is what I'm going to be moving forward with. And that's like my favorite thing to do, you know, like I love doing that, like harnessing what is within here and bringing it out here. And that uniqueness, you know, like I think, you know, because we live at a time where like everyone's a content creator now, everyone creates content. If you post on social media, you're a content creator, just regardless. That's just what it is. And everyone does that. But lots of people do just copy other people, right? A lot of things are just built on trends. And if you are someone that has that desire that may want to do something like this for a long time, the thing that's going to allow you to do that is your individuality, right? Is harnessing that, your individuality and your ability to reinvent yourself, right? The ability to stand on your own island if need be, right? Your style should be its own thing to the point that if someone else copied you, people would be able to say like, oh, that's that person, you know, that's that person. Like Tyler, the Creator, has such a unique style that is him, that when someone else may copy him, you could tell. You're like, oh, that's inspiration from Tyler, right? So that's how much you want to harness your individuality, right? Where it's people can identify it, you know? Like I for like 10 years I've been shooting through plants, like my podcast videos. I literally been doing this for like a long time. I go on Instagram now, I see a lot of people shooting through plants. I'm sorry, I created that. Okay. I've been doing it for a decade. And I'll look at people's pages too who do that, and I see they followed me, and I was like, I could tell that's like my influence on the internet. I could see even my influence in other types of content as well. But that's because I harnessed my style and it became like a defining thing. And we just continue to do that. But yeah, you know, mastering your craft, paying attention to what you like, knowing what you don't like. Rick Rubin says that a lot. Rick Rubin says, I just know what I don't like. He's like, I know what I don't like, and I stay true to that. Okay, we literally gotta bounce in a couple minutes. We're gonna get to like one or two more questions. Someone said, congrats on 800K. The million is next. Yeah, we gotta get to that million. Right now, I'm not even really focused on the million. I'm more focused on just like the consistency and getting all my socials back. I haven't posted on Instagram. I haven't posted on TikTok. Or my podcast. So right now we're just kind of focused on the ecosystem, and naturally, you know, subscribers will come in, we'll hit that million, you know, one day we'll hit that 2 million. It's bound to happen, but it's beautiful to be where we're at. 100%. Hey. Okay. I gotta go make some dinner. I was here a little bit longer. It always ends up like that. It always ends up like that. I always say I'm gonna be here for like 40 minutes and it ends up being 2 hours, which is a blessing. It just means I'm having such a good time. So thank you everybody for tuning in. Quick Q&A, quick little vibe session. You know, we do this just to elevate ourselves. Have a great evening, morning, afternoon, wherever it may be, wherever you are. I did just post a video like an hour ago, so go check that out. You know, if you can, go support that one time for the algorithm. I would truly appreciate that. And we do have a lot coming, and I'll probably be back on stream tomorrow, to be honest, so catch me again. Someone says please start an ASMR channel. I actually will, but I got to make sure this channel is flourishing before I do that, one thing at a time. So thank you, and you done know in hindsight everything is going to be all right. Cheers.